Welcome to Creative Job Search, Internet and Social Media. This workshop was recorded on January 17th, 2023. To access any of the statewide online workshops, go to careerforcemn.com/anywhere.
We'll have two polls during this presentation and would love to see your responses. In a moment, you should see a new window pane populate on your screen that says polling. Go ahead and click the polling phrase and answer this question. How did you find your last job? Was that the newspaper advertisement? Was it a help wanted sign? Was it online, your job board, Minnesota Works, Indeed, ZipRecruiter, etc.? Or was it through your traditional or online network, such as family, friends, colleagues, or social media, LinkedIn, Facebook? As you submit your responses to this polling question, I encourage you to turn up the volume. Find a comfortable but not too comfortable place to set up for the day. Free yourselves from distractions, as this workshop can change your perspective on how you may find your next position. I want to let you know that your questions do matter to us, and we'll be getting to them at the appropriate time during this session. The polling just ended. All right, what are you seeing? Are they the same results? Did you get more participation on this one?
Yeah, I kind of jumped that on people earlier on, so thank you for seeing it twice. Very similar results, so double the responses. We have a lot of people who are saying that they got theirs through networking. We had 18 responses for that. The other ones are from online job boards. Interestingly enough, no help wanted signs or newspaper advertisements, which used to be the norm. So it shows you how much things have changed.
Yes, that's awesome. Well, we are hopeful that this workshop, and thank you for reopening that, will help you recognize different methods for job searching, identifying perks of using the state's labor exchange, such as minnesotaworks.net, compared to other third-party websites or job boards, the importance of balancing a job search strategy, and demonstrate the role of social media, although ever-changing, is here to stay. Referencing back to the first poll, we can understand that people find work from many different advertised sources. That is why we encourage seekers to focus their job search to an industry or a career-specific job board that yields results. Set up certain days to cruise along different websites or walk the pavement to allow yourself ample time to network. A common problem we've all encountered with the many job seekers is that they tend to have tunnel vision when it comes to looking for work. They narrow their search criteria to a word or phrase that may be outdated, or they search for an occupation that is declining. Therefore, we encourage seekers to look beyond that job title. In the chat, we use a useful tool to find similar job titles to your previous occupations. Other job seekers fall in love with the ease of applying online with a click of the button. You know, those easy apply, those quick applies. If there is one thing that you take away from this session, avoid mass applying. In fact, applying directly through a third-party website, if you can, avoid that. This will only cloud your job search success. Instead, prioritize what you find. First, apply for those positions you know you are a great fit for. Not with that silly quick apply feature, but with a tailored response or resume that tells the appropriate story on how you are the right person for the job. If you're aiming to skip the job boards and you find a dream job, verify it is a true job. Don't use the links that are within the posting. Instead, do your due diligence. Research that position, research that company. It is best to use caution on the internet. If there are no red flags or yellow flags thrown regarding this position, respond immediately with a tailored resume and cover letter through the company's current employment portal. Unfortunately, closing dates are not written in stone. Some dates are assigned, but many private sector jobs will close an opportunity after an X amount of applicants, or they find an ideal hire. To make myself stand out from the crowd, from the other applicants for the position, I like to pick up the phone and call the hiring authority directly regarding the position. Ask for a complete job description, not just the job posting. They do exist. You're seeing job postings get smaller and smaller, but the job description is getting bigger and bigger. So if you can get that job description, have that human interaction with the hiring authority, your chances are going to increase. You can also ask, what are the expected closing dates? And who can I tailor a cover letter to, and if it's necessary? If there is no luxury of connecting with the employer before applying, follow up with a phone call post submittal, typically 2 to 3 weeks. Currently, Minnesota Works is our state's labor exchange. More or less, it's an online job board. What separates this website for familiar ones, such as ZipRecruiter, Career Builder, Indeed, and LinkedIn, is that Minnesota Works is 100% free to the end users, both employers and job seekers alike. You see, most of the online job boards, anyone with a credit card can post a job. Only in Minnesota Works that I know of, employers who are looking to hire within Minnesota will be considered. In fact, all employers are heavily vested prior to accessing Minnesota Works, which has been known to minimize the riff-raff scammers that you see on the other third-party websites. As a job seeker, this is exciting for us, as our virtual caution flag can be comfortably tucked back into our pocket as we cruise Minnesota Works looking for our next work opportunity. Currently, there are over 100,000 jobs listed today and less than 11,000 viewable resumes. And every job seeker that has an account, you're here today, you can have up to 5 resumes on this account for different job titles. Even better, these resumes do not need to be in the chronological order format, which is organized by the most recent job being listed first. Instead, you can build a resume that focuses on your past skills and highlight those jobs that are relevant to your career listing, the employment dates in a month tally versus listing start and end date. The last survey conducted by the Department of Employment and Economic Development regarding Minnesota Works, 66% of employers who posted on Minnesota Works filled the position with an applicant from Minnesota Works. 85% of those who searched for jobs found jobs to apply to. 47% of those who applied for jobs were contacted for an interview. As you advance in your job search, we understand that applications can be a barrier between you and the job you're aiming to get. A strategy I found useful or helpful on an open vacancy is to put more efforts applying than the average person. Add that cover letter, reach out, connect with them. If the position is open, call to verify that the position is open. This is just a phone call. An informational interview can follow post talking. Nothing is more frustrating than creating a resume for a dream job that closed this past week. Ask to speak to the hiring manager who will be reviewing the resumes. Get their position title and correct spelling of their name. This will help you decide if you just want to draft that cover letter. And if possible, as mentioned before, ask for that job description to be emailed to your email. It opens up lines for communication. Even though many of us have found success in the past by looking for jobs online, moving forward, 75% of the jobs will be found through people you know. This is worth a Google. That is crazy. 75 to 80% will be found through people you know. We encourage to balance your online job hunt with job searching activities such as attending conferences, networking events, volunteering and participating in group outings. Art, before we move on, I want to open up that second poll that we have. That way we don't have to worry about polls the rest of the day. Like before, we'll open up that poll, it'll jump up on your window, and you have approximately 30 seconds to complete it. How many people does the average person know? So if you can open up that poll, how many people does the average person know? Is it 10? Is it 50? Is it 150? 300? Or over 600? This, I have to tell you, Art, this question always gets a varied response. And I've yet to see an agreed upon response. So as you submit your final thoughts, ask yourself this question. Ask yourself, how many acquaintances do you have, and are you average?
You know, one of the follow-up questions someone had is define the word no. You know, that's going to mean different things to different people. You know, how many people do you know very, very well? How many people do you know a little bit?
Yeah.
which creates another discussion completely. But I'm going to put these results out here, and boy, this is the widest dispersal I've ever seen for this question. Looks like we have just across the board. I mean, nothing's a winner here. We have 5 people at 600 plus, 9 people at 300 plus, 14 people at 150, 12 at 50, and 6 people are saying they only know 10 people. So, what are your thoughts there, Sam?
Well, as you said, that's a variety of response. It's got that shape. I forget what that graph is called, but it's it's hard to define that no. And I do like Martin where he said define no. And no can be acquaintance. No can be someone who can speak for you. No can be through connections. And we'll talk about those knowing or your second degree connections in a later slide. And this is interesting. Before I want to share with you my response or the book response or the internet response, Google's response, I want to explain who is in that network. So we're going to jump right into that. Um, and I have to tell you, your network is a heck of a lot bigger than you think. Try reaching out to your past friends, your family, your coworkers, neighbors, and others who are genuinely interested in your well-being. Those are the ones who will be most interested in your success. But with the labor shortage that we're seeing today, employers are offering bonuses to their employees for referrals. So your second degree connections might be even people that you may know. Start spreading the word that you are open for opportunities with your traditional network and on your social network. I know that's hard for some of us to do, but let others know you are currently transitioning from one job to another. Don't shelter in place on that one. Let other people know, let them in, and that you're exploring the new opportunities. It is humbling to see how others will go out of their way just to help you jumpstart your career by leveraging their personal individual network. So they're going to be Minnesota nice, extra nice, because there might be a monetary gain for it. So what is the answer to the last poll? It would have to be in the hundreds. Potentially, we know 300 to 600 acquaintances. This doesn't mean that each one of them will be invested in our future, but we do have the option of knowing them. This graphic you see is called the 6 degrees of separation broken down to the 4th degree. It was coined in like 1960s, I think 67, and it's still relevant today. It is not what you know, but more so who you know. I recently read an article that referred applicants are 15 times more likely to be hired than applicants who apply through the typical online job board. Going beyond simply applying, find out who works there and connect the dots back to you. Robust job searching is about connection. It's not about perfection. There is no perfect job search strategy that will work for everyone, except, this is the exception, networking. Today, with the use of social media or social networking, I would theorize that it would take less than 5 connections to reach any one person on this earth. And that sounds huge. I just looked at my social media accounts and I see that I have over 500 Facebook friends and over 400 connections. Less than 10% of those are shared connections across both. I kept my networking, my LinkedIn, professional. I kept my Facebook personal. So that's why only 10% are shared. Whether you are job searching online or looking through the Help Wanted page, there is one strategy that separates itself from the rest, and it's called an informational interviewing. We'll share what that is in the next few slides, but first, let's talk about the steps to get to the informational interview. The first step is becoming organized. Find an employer who wants to speak to you. And I think this is a good time for a question, Art, before I get into the 5 steps.
Yeah, thank you, Sam. I just needed to break in because this is there's 2 questions and they're very relevant to networking. If you're a new immigrant or just someone new to an area, you're at a disadvantage because you don't know people in that area. What are some methods to build your network when you're new to a location or even new to a country?
Oh, absolutely. That's an excellent question, Art. For me, I would try to find myself in similar locations where I want to work. So the first thing would be that informational interviewing, calling companies. That's if you have not ESL as a second language, but working with individuals that know how to get there. So reaching out to your local career force, they're going to be able to set you up with job fairs. They're going to be able to set you up with networking events. This is considered a networking event because you are out there networking in the chat. You might not have that face-to-face interaction, but it's an opportunity. Another thing is finding yourself going to like the Chamber of Commerce and asking them, what are the networking opportunities around here? And you can keep on going through that layer. So every person you talk to will have an invested interest and they may know more about the local area. My first step, if I'm new to this country or new to an area, Chamber of Commerce, plain and simple, or the area, the economic development area. And maybe there might be like a networking event that's free to go to in your community. I know in Glenwood, Minnesota, there's like Wake Up Minnesota, where anyone can attend. Alexandria has the same thing, but it's titled something a little different. And those are only like 15 miles apart. So there's different opportunities within your neck of the woods that you'll be able to network. Art, do you have anything that you would like to add?
Yeah, I just kept my camera on because I did want to mention that there are immigrant-specific job fairs that happen occasionally. So one of the things I would recommend is, and Sam's going to mention this many times, contact your local career force location and just see what's available. Reach out, and what they'll do if they don't have that information for you, they'll reach out to their wider network. And that's a kind of second and third degree networking that really benefits you. Let people know what your needs are. I'm a new immigrant in this area, and I'm looking for connections. And us, as an organization, we will have probably a wider network to draw from. So excellent tips there, Sam, and I hope that helped you out, the person who asked the question.
Awesome. So going back to what's this telephone? How do you do the online informational interviewing or in-person information interviewing? The first step is becoming organized. Find an employer you want to speak to and prepare some honest questions regarding their company or available positions. Write those questions down and maybe even create a script for yourself so you stay on topic, or something that is tangible with talking points. Me personally, I would rather be overprepared than underprepared and overwhelmed. Step 2, before the call, practice out loud. Sounds silly. You can jump in front of a mirror, talk to your cats, your dogs, or loved ones. It helps to hear how you sound, and it will help you avoid too many filler words such as or like. Step 3, find the phone. When the phone call is about to happen, find an environment free of distractions, no TV in the background, no rugrats running around your house. Find somewhere where it's quiet, peaceful, and you can concentrate and have their full attention, because it shows over that phone call. I personally, if you have a house full of children or rugrats running around, or too many distractions, I like to sit in the car, the den, an office, or even a bedroom. Make sure it's not an empty bedroom with but with furniture. That way there's less echoes to happen. Please stay away from empty rooms, such as unfinished basements. It will sound like you are in the bathroom, and an employer will jump to a conclusion, especially if they hear the toilet flush. Number 4, dress for success. Not like a suit and tie or an extravagant gown, but comfortable jeans, a sweater, a button down, a polo shirt, anything that makes you feel one step above what you would wear on your day-to-day living. So if you're working at home, do one step above, like you're going into the office or going to a special event. And finally, step 5, as you speak with the employer, you smile. You sound happier when you smile, and your voice fluctuates naturally. Those who are unable to see you speak can hear your smile, and the brain paints a picture. So the 5 steps, I'll throw it into the chat, and if you have any questions, please throw them in there, and we'll get to that. And I'm sure Art has already addressed the job fairs in the Duluth area with the right URL. If you have followed these steps, those 5 steps I just gave you, and put the extra effort into researching the employer, making a connection with them comes off less daunting. Networking should never start with, what can you do for me? Or what jobs are available? Or how much do you pay? What are your benefits? Where do I apply? Etc. Those questions demonstrates your inability to do research and your sole interest is self-improvement. If you want to impress the employer, I mean really impress the employer, have a lighthearted and brief conversation. Let them know that their time matters and that you would love to have a further discussion to learn more about the company beyond what the website or news articles state, and ask them for an informational interview. There's that keyword, informational interview. You need to stay positive. You may hear no more than yes, but if they are willing to have that scheduled conversation during one of their coffee breaks, dress neatly. Get prepared because informational interview is a power research technique. It is an effective tool to meet with the employer, stand out from the crowd, and go beyond a name on a future resume. It is important to note this is not a job interview for you, and the objective is not to find a job or secure a job. Simply put, it is networking. It is having that conversation. It is expanding your network and being more relevant in your area. You may feel awkward reaching out to people you don't know, as we've been taught our whole lives. However, with hiring markets and positions available, and most people enjoy talking a bit of, taking a bit of time out of their day to talk about themselves and reflect on their personal careers and give advice to someone who's interested in their field or the career itself or the company. When awarded an informational interview, be prepared to direct the conversation, but also let the conversations flow naturally and encourage the interviewee to do most of the talking because this is networking, plain and simple. It's networking. As the conversation closes, follow up with a physical thank you card, letter, or email expressing your excitement to learn about their journey, and if possible, connect with them on LinkedIn. Art, what do we got coming in the questions? I see it, they're buzzing.
So just a couple things. I got a couple questions, but just before I send out this chat message, we did have a couple questions about, hey, where are the events in my area? There is a great resource, highly underutilized by job seekers, called the Job Fairs and Events Networking Calendar. It's called a Trumba calendar. If you've ever heard that term before, I just put it into the chat, and you can click on that to find out what the most recent employers of the day, job fairs, networking opportunities are in your area. So as an example, someone was looking for, what about Duluth? Well, I'm a portal to Duluth. So I sent out a question and I got some information. There is something in the works, and that will show up on this calendar, this Trumba calendar that I just sent you. There's no specific dates yet, but when those dates become available, that's where you'll find them. So it's a great resource. But I do have a couple questions for you, Sam. Any idea on how you can get a hold of or get the name of the hiring manager? And once you do that, I know you've mentioned a couple, but what are some typical questions you could ask of that person once you get that informational interview? And is it important to get to the hiring manager? Do you have to have the hiring manager?
All right, so three great questions there. Do you have to have the hiring manager? No, it can be a supervisor, it can be someone that works there. Getting a person that's in there, typically in the leadership roles, is ideal, but it doesn't have to be the hiring manager. Heck, you could possibly get all the way up to a CEO if there was time for it. So you don't need to go straight for that for the hiring manager. How to get to that person? Well, you can check your network. Social media is a great resource. You can go to LinkedIn and on the search criteria, put in Vector Windows or Marvin Windows and put HR behind it, the two letters HR combined. And it'll show you all past and present employees that have worked in HR for that company. If the HR is not directly associated to link on their job description. So if it's not on the job description, that's one way. Another way, a thing that is unheard of, pick up the phone, give them a call, just ask. Just say, hey, I'm interested in learning more about this company. Are you offering tours? And is it in person? Does it have to be over the phone? It starts with a phone call. You can drop in if it's not that far of a drive, but I would not, if it's going to be longer than a 15-minute commute from your house, Possibly, especially in the winter, you might want to consider having that phone call and setting up an appointment, an arranged appointment. So those are the two things that I would say is pick up the phone call, check HR if it's not listed in the job description. Do you have to meet with that HR person, or can be anyone? And what type of questions do you ask? Well, what type of questions do you hear in the interview? Those are some great questions to respond with. Give them a brief history. Let them know that you understand what their company is about, but ask them a little more. Let the conversation flow naturally. The first one is, how are you doing today? Thank you for taking time out of the day. And I'm really curious to learn about your personal journey as well as others' journeys, how to get in this field or break into this network. Some other ones that you can have is like, where do you post your jobs? Are you strictly using LinkedIn platforms, stuff like that? That way it shows that you're invested in it. So at the end, and then follow up. Always ask, is it okay if I reach out or add you to my network? That shows that you are committed to that company. Follow that company on LinkedIn, social media, and you'll start seeing names populate. And that's another way to look at it. I could go on for miles with this question. So I will say my responses. If you didn't feel like you got the right answer, go to your local career force, reach out to me afterwards, and I'll try to give you a better synopsis of any questions that you have. So we're going to move on to social media. As I said, connect with them on LinkedIn, which is a great segue to it. From TikTok resumes to Instagram portfolios, job seekers are devoted at finding innovative approaches to get noticed by employers. But for the most part, there are only 3 pillars of social media that really deserve our attention, which are LinkedIn, your Facebook and Twitter accounts. The primary goal of social media is to help you connect with people, build communities and groups, share ideas, interests, and information regarding your chosen profession. What started as simple service has now evolved into this mandatory part of creative job search. The benefits of using social networks to grow your professional brand in terms of relationship building, portfolio creation, resume building, at all are endless. LinkedIn is a professional networking site. You can apply for jobs through LinkedIn, and recruiters use LinkedIn to find potential job candidates. Facebook and Twitter are social networking sites, which we would encourage, as I said before, keep separate from your professional networking on LinkedIn. Be careful about what you post online because everything is searchable, findable with the right clicks, right programs running. Consider Googling yourself. And this is something that a lot of people do not do. Google yourself to see what information comes up. If you find something concerning on Google, like your name is like one of the FBI's top 10 most wanted list, consider adding a middle initial or your full middle name, depending on what you really want to put out there. Many, if not all, employers will look you up if considered for the position. Check out the link in the chat box to see what your Minnesota, this is a free access, rap sheet might look like to an employer. So you can go to that website. All these links will be sent out there. So you don't have to go right this second, but you can definitely check out that one a little later. LinkedIn is no longer just a place to find people, to connect with people. It's a place of personal and professional growth, a place of business growth, a place of economic growth, and a place that makes a difference in professional lives. It's a community where you can be inspired, where you can build relationships and discover unexpected opportunities. And for those who are hesitant on getting LinkedIn, some common comments that I've heard in workshops, in person, when talking about LinkedIn are straightforward. I am not a professional. You said this is a professional website. It's not for me. So what I told her, if LinkedIn is not right for you, if she was a professional, this person was a professional cleaner, and she found a Monday through Friday union position that was blocks away on LinkedIn. So if you feel like you're not a professional, are you good at anything? What are you good at? What is your past? Were you paid to do it? A professional is someone who's paid to do something. So I would say you're a professional. I had another job seeker state, oh my gosh, LinkedIn is so depressing. All it talks about is politics. Well, LinkedIn is not really like Facebook or Twitter, as everyone on this website and are normally careful not to really shake the boat or rock the boat. But if you are concerned with political talk, you can filter those away from your feed. It's a new thing. You have to go through the steps to get there. I'm not going to share that with you. If you want more, I can share a link if you private message me later. My favorite has to be I'm too old for LinkedIn. LinkedIn is for the younger generation, or vice versa. LinkedIn is so outdated. It's not for the Gen Z generation. Plain and simple, LinkedIn is a professional platform. Whether you're considered a boomer or a Gen Z, it appeals to all and doesn't discriminate. Thank you, but no thank you. I do my best not to be found. Perfect. You don't need LinkedIn then. If that's your feelings, you don't need it. Regardless, if you're an avid or new to LinkedIn platform, the first thing you need to do is to update all your information on LinkedIn. In fact, you need to become a LinkedIn All-Star, as it increases your chances to recognize tenfold. The first step of All-Star status is posting a profile picture. Here is a good question for the chat. Of the images on your right, A, B, C, D, or E, and F, I guess, which one is appropriate to have for your LinkedIn account? So go ahead and look at that. Is it A? Is it B? Is it C, D, E, F? Is it also A and D and E? What is it? So we got a lot of people saying C. That's pretty good. Here's some recent data on LinkedIn. Only 51% of LinkedIn users have a fully completed profile. We understand starting something from scratch can be intimidating, but if this tool is used right, and it is a tool, LinkedIn is worth your time investment. With the right tools in your toolkit, you're going to be more successful. If you're trying to screw a nail, it's not going to work. But if you get a hammer, you can pound in that nail. If you need motivation to finish or need someone just to check in on you, call your local career force. We are there to support you in your endeavors. Ask for someone to review your portfolio or profile and or set a deadline to write it down on a post-it note. Hang it on your computer or wherever you access LinkedIn from. So we have a lot of questions in there. Having a high quality picture is important. Get noticed on LinkedIn. Having an image on LinkedIn has 21 times more profile views than users without one. Looking in the chat, we can see that everyone has opinion, and we're gonna tell you the response, what I would feel is the right one, after we answer some questions. Art, what do you got in?
Oh, lots of questions. We'll get to as many as we can. If we don't get to your question, we'll follow up with you after. Someone had a question. Two very common questions. One, do you need LinkedIn Premium? Sam, do you have LinkedIn Premium?
I do not.
Neither do I. How long have you been on LinkedIn?
10 years.
Yeah, yeah. I asked this question of LinkedIn. I had the benefit of talking directly with some LinkedIn personnel, and I asked them, should we tell job seekers to get a premium account? And they said, no, you don't have to get a premium account. It's very valuable without. Now, you could get if you want to. Certainly, I'm not trying to tell anyone not to. But if you're wondering if you need to get a premium account to have it be very valuable, absolutely not. There's some bells and whistles. They'll take your money if you give it to them, and there will be some benefits, but you don't have to get it. Another one is, do you have to have a picture? That's a very common question.
I would say yes. As I said, 51% of profile views 51% of people don't have a picture on there. So if you want 21 times more clicks on your profile and to become an all-star status, I would definitely encourage it. Now, having a stagnant photo, such as it looks like he's having a good time, but as you can see, he is just drinking something. Is it Windsor and Coke? What is it? I don't know. He might be having way too good of a time. Same with D. It's got a busy background. So be aware what's in your background. Come to the career force. A lot of locations can take that professional photo with your phone. Most of these phones have the capabilities of high definition or beautiful pictures quality with a blurred background. So do you have to have a picture? I would encourage it, but if you're self-conscious regarding that, it's all up to you, but to become an all-star, to be more likable, not likable, but presentable on LinkedIn, I would say yes. And also, if you're a veteran, you can access free year of premium if you wanted to use it. So that's something to look at. But always take a look at the fine notes in there. So let's answer this question. What profile picture works the best? We had a lot of great responses. Most of them were B, C, and F. But I'm going to tell you, for me, A, what's in his cup? Is he in the frat? B and C have excellent quality and compelling light. Busy background on D, poor lighting on E, and half her head is cut off. You can see this. What does she have behind? I have no idea. We want to see a little bit of the hair, at least the crown of the forehead, if you can. Even though my public picture is a hair outdated, it clearly shows my face. It's well lit. Ideally, well lit is outdoor. You don't want to be underneath fluorescent lights. It does not give your expression any benefit. It kind of has that down, gloomy look. And I need to clearly get a better headshot moving forward because it's not a clear representation of myself or the pose. I rather have a stiff and non-energetic look about me. As C, very compelling. B, I like the head tilt. A lot of great ones. You can get quality pictures at certain things. Some career fairs, the state sponsors, actually offer free LinkedIn headshots, which is cool. Your goal, the next thing is to include a relevant headline. Your goal with the headline is to appear in more searches and articulating your value and proposition. There is no magical formula when it comes to the perfect headline. Your headline should align with what it is you are trying to achieve on LinkedIn. Ask yourself, who do you want to find you? What are they searching for? Answer those questions when writing your headline. The step 3, this step is probably the easiest one to get closer to all-star status, is when editing your profile, make sure that your entire country, postal zip code, and industry are listed. These areas tell the recruiters where you reside and what industry you're looking in. A lot of recruiters will search for job candidates on LinkedIn using industry and location settings. So if you leave this blank, you'll be left out of search results. For your experience section, you will need to include your most current position plus 2 prior positions generally. According to Forbes magazine, LinkedIn members with current positions are discovered 16 times more than in recruiter searches, and their profile views will increase by 29 times. The experience points here, just like on your resume, should be achievement-based and targeted towards your desired job or field. Use your resume as an inspiration and a guide to make sure you revise any copy and paste errors, such as formatting, might not look very nice on your profile. So copy paste, rework it. It shouldn't be exact representation of your resume, but more of a broad sense of what you can do for all companies, because you don't know who's going to be reaching out to you. Step 5, include 5 skills. To achieve all-star status, you'll need to include at least 5 skills in your skill section. LinkedIn reports that users with 5 skills or more are 33 times more likely to be contacted by recruiters. Include skills that you're good at and skills related to the keyword employers are using to find candidates. An easy way to find keywords is go to your ideal role, look through 5 or 10 job postings on LinkedIn or Indeed or Minnesota Works. After a while, you'll start seeing or noticing certain words popping up over and over repetitiously that you can use for your skill section if they're true about you. Work on your summary. Out of all the sections in this post, this is typically the hardest one that everyone encounters, and it's tough to nail down. It may take you some time and energy to craft a compelling summary, but this is your opportunity to market yourself to the employer, your elevator pitch. Include these key points to create a strong summary. An opening statement that clearly shows why you're on LinkedIn, a summary of your work experience with your most impressive and relevant skills, Make sure to include relevant keywords here to increase your chance of appearing in the recruiter searches. A few bullet points focused on your achievements rather than your duties. You can quantify your achievements with numbers and even start your bullets with an action verb to demonstrate your value to past companies. A closing statement about what types of opportunities get you excited, what you're passionate about, and what kind of roles someone should get in touch for you about. Be sure to include your contact information. One thing that I've been doing on a lot of LinkedIn rewrites or revamps, I've been including coffee lover or dog lover as part of it. It sounds weird, but it gives you a starting point, a connection where you can really get out there. The biggest benefit of adding this section is that it gives you an opportunity to connect and be found by fellow alumni, and that's your education, since you have built-in connections with that school or high school, wherever you got your education. This section is also especially important if you're a recent graduate or student. And finally, to reach all-star status, you do need to have 50 connections. It may take a while because it's always hard starting, but you can get there. We can help you get there. You can connect with others by sending them an invitation or by accepting their invitations. I just got a notification that someone from my past, way back when, just got on LinkedIn. So I reached out to them. You can also jumpstart your connections by allowing LinkedIn to match you up with people from your email address book. Another way to start is simply by using the search feature and find companies you used to work at and connect with past coworkers or ex-coworkers. Establishing connections and interacting is a core part of LinkedIn, and the platform will reward you in search results if you have more connections. This is straight from the CEO's mouth of LinkedIn. Every minute on LinkedIn, almost 200 people join, 9,000 connections are made, 45 applications are submitted, and anywhere around 3 to 5 people get a job on LinkedIn. So that's huge. That's every minute. Networking is the key to success. And it's difficult, even under the best circumstances. But networking while unemployed can be especially uncomfortable. If this struggle is real for you, networking while unemployed is not as hard as it may seem. In fact, here are a few simple strategies that you can do on LinkedIn to make the whole process a little easier and more productive. Grow your network. When LinkedIn became mainstream in 2010, you may have unintentionally received those emails. And if your network, and you might have joined, if that's the case and you don't really remember the password, start fresh, get a new email. Start fresh, and you'll be surprised by the results. It will walk you through the steps of creating an account. If you have an established network, click on your connections and scroll through all of those second and third degree connections. Add a personal note or a short statement of how you know each other or that you're excited to connect with individuals on LinkedIn. I just checked myself on my account, and I have over 400 degree connections and 300,000 plus second degree connections. That is crazy. Out of 400 people, I have the potential of reaching out to 326,000 connections. Endorsing and recommending. Of the new connections that are established, view their profile. It is amazing. You click on a random person's profile when I'm doing workshops with people, I'll click on it. Within 24 hours, I will get a click on it, maybe a personal note. It's kind of crazy. People like to see interactions. So endorsing people, let them know that you want to send them this because you feel like they deserve it. And in response, you can add a little note and say, before it is sent, you can add that personal note and ask a recipient in one for return, but always allow for an opt-out option. It's not required. I appreciate one if you would like to, but I'm not going to hold you by it. I just wanted you to have it. Follow and connect. LinkedIn has over 830 million members with over 58 million registered companies. The strategy I employ is to follow the companies, and that will increase your success. Click on those who are in HR, as I said, behind the company name, and you might be able to see a little more of who is out there that you might be able to reach out to. and relevant content. Speaking of posts, increase your LinkedIn traffic by sharing content, commenting on other employers' walls, and start showing that you're interacting on LinkedIn. The more interaction you have, the better. To speed things up, we're coming up on time, I know. So I'm going to try to go through this fast. If you have any questions, if you want me to slow down, perfect, I can do that. But I want to make sure I get you out on time. Video is new. I don't know if a lot of people know this. It's the next mega trend. You know, Instagram did it. You got TikTok. LinkedIn has added a more human way of content sharing by introducing stories, kind of like Instagram or the Facebook viral views. This is allowing account holders to replace their essential water cooler moments with a short clip. Add those moments when a face-to-face meeting is the best way to get things done. They have also added a video call over Teams or Blue Jeans by Verizon or Zoom directly from a message trend. This is a perfect place for that informational interview if it's too far to commute. With the influx of younger users joining the platform, this is catering to those needs with elevator speeches, 30 seconds. To add a video elevator speech, tap on your profile photo through your mobile app. You can't do it through your desktop. I've tried it. It only works through your mobile app. And you can introduce yourself with a 30-second video clip. Be personable, be genuine, and be brief and be gone. Hashtags. After sharing your video, add a hashtag when posting content. You want to be searchable, and this is one way that you can be searchable. When creating content for any social media post that you want traction, we encourage adding a few hashtags. I usually do 3 at most. Hashtags are a useful tool for networking, finding job opportunities, and sharing your own job search to get noticed by employers who are also using social media to recruit. How do hashtags work, and what's the best way to use them? If you use those platforms that I mentioned, you're probably familiar with the hashtag. It's basically the pound sign. This is the hashtag. For the longest time, being out of work was a shameful process. A lot of people are like, oh no, you're out of work. You just feel like you're encompassed and everyone's got that spotlight view on you. Don't feel that way anymore. It's a 180-degree turnaround. Job seekers are more transparent and honest in their posts. Your network wants to know you. They want to support you, and they want to hire you. Therefore, your network of connections, employers, and recruiters should know that you're open for work. This is one thing you can do, is just put that little tag on there. When this feature was launched in 2020, early results show that the open to work photo frame received 40% direct in-mail messages from recruiters and 20% more messages from the LinkedIn community saying, I didn't know, here's a lead. Whether you choose to use this banner or not, we do encourage using the next feature, as it will be able to engage with your network even further. And that is the LinkedIn interview. And I know Art is excited about this. I'm excited about it. I'm really excited to share this last tool as we finish out our time together and answer any of your burning questions. Get them in the chat box. And if you don't get your question answered, reach out to local career force and we'll be able to help you answer that as well. Navigating to this next session from your LinkedIn homepage is somewhat confusing without demonstration, so I'll give you a link and a quick rundown. First, sign in to LinkedIn, and I see that a lot of people are actually on LinkedIn right now. Sign into LinkedIn, select jobs, and they just added this. That will be a briefcase on the top part of the homepage. That's been added, but they added the interview preps tool underneath that. If you want the direct link, look in the chat. They're going to cover 26 common interview questions. Interview prep unravels the questions employers ask and why they ask them. The categories that they ask, if you feel the common questions, those 26 questions are not really the ones you would encounter in your profession, you can also select from categories like engineer or editor, whatever it may be, to narrow your search down to 14 industry-specific occupation questions. And then feedback. You can garnish feedback. Once you have reviewed the questions and committed your response, you can either type it in or you can talk into your recording and gather feedback. The artificial intelligence will monitor your filler words and how fast you talk. If you talk way too fast, you also can share it with any first level connections and ask for their feedback to have to the answer and how you delivered it. So how many filler words did you cover it? Would you like more? Did you share too much? How long was your response? A lot of things like that. On top of that, you can use LinkedIn to network. You can use it for researching companies, finding careers. In fact, there are endless topics we could cover regarding LinkedIn, but we did share quite a bit, which will be an immediate impact of your job search. If you're new to LinkedIn and would like to create an account, you can watch a pre-recorded step-by-step process that Art did on our virtual and interactive site that walks you through the process and gives you additional best practices. Art, we are coming up on time, I know, but do we have any questions that we can respond to?
Got most of them taken care of in the chat or through the questions to you. There are a couple hanging out, and I'll look again through the questions to make sure we got everybody. I'm going to combine two questions. One was, are LinkedIn jobs generally safe and if they're posted there? And then also, if a job is posted on LinkedIn through a company, does that mean it's posted elsewhere also, like Indeed or other online job boards? Can you give some ideas on both of those questions?
Yes. Is LinkedIn generally safe? Is everything generally safe on the internet? You have some cautions, but I would be more comfortable with LinkedIn than I would be with Indeed. LinkedIn makes me feel a little more safer. They're professionals. You can search that company, see who that company is, see how many connections, see how many resources they have. You can look at how many employees are connected with that company. So it kind of gives you reassurance. And the second part of that question, Art, was what was it again?
If a company posts their job on LinkedIn through LinkedIn,
is it other places?
Is it going to be other places?
Sometimes, yes. They use National Labor Exchange, which so does Minnesota Works and LinkedIn. Sometimes LinkedIn jobs are actually posted on Minnesota Works or drawn from Minnesota Works to LinkedIn. So generally, yes, they're going to be posted elsewhere. It's up to the employer typically if they want to post across multiple platforms. Is that how you feel too, Art?
Yeah, I would just add one thing to that. If there's an easy apply with your LinkedIn profile, I don't recommend doing that. And the reason is you're not going to be able to give them the specific information that they need that'll meet keyword searches and such. I know it seems like, why would they do that? Why would they allow for that? It's super easy, but it's not the most effective method. So if you get an opportunity, go to the company website, apply through their standard application procedure. You're going to be able to customize how you respond to their needs much more. With that, I'll turn it over to Sam to wrap it up. Thanks, everyone. Great questions today in the chat box. I'll send the recording to you by the end of the day tomorrow.
All right. Thank you so much, Art, for helping out today and answering those burning questions. Thank you for attending our workshop. Thank you for joining us today. And remember, tomorrow from 1 to 2:30, you can join us for another workshop, whether it's interviewing or resume writing. You can find this workshop and many more on our Career Force from Anywhere website. And there's a great little resource that we can throw in here. And that's careerforcemn.com/anywhere. All the relevant resources, links, and copies of our slides will be sent to you in an email associated to your Minnesota Works account within the next 24 hours, as Art mentioned. And again, thank you for joining us today, and stay cool through the rest of January. It's almost February. Have a great day.